fairly viral.
Sophie Cunningham in Sports Illustrated swimsuit.
This is probably one of the most empowering things that I have done ever.
Nice job, Sophie.
Sophie Cunningham just went viral.
Sophie Cunningham obviously is probably one of the bigger names in free agency.
And now the entire WNBA is buzzing. But here's the real question. Is this actually the beginning of her return to the Indiana Fever?
The odds of her re-signing with the Indiana Fever are very high.
Sophie Cunningham. She went and got herself some hobbies. I was wondering, as I saw this, I thought to myself, is she retiring? But it looks like upon some clarification, probably not.
Because behind the headlines, the timing, the attention, and the moves she's making, something bigger is building, and fans are starting to connect the dots. So before we break this all down, if you're riding with Caitlin Clark, drop CC22 in the comments right now, and make sure you hit subscribe, because this story is moving fast.
This role with USA Sports is going to be a little bit more limited.
Fairly viral. We've got Sophie Cunningham in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, where, to be honest, like, it is one of those things where, well, yeah, duh. Like, obviously, this is not something that Sophie Cunningham has been in the league for, what, 8 years?
Sophie Cunningham didn't just trend. She took over the conversation overnight. It started with her sudden surge in visibility. From stepping into a broadcast role on a major network to appearing in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit spotlight, she was everywhere at once. And that's exactly what made this moment hit differently. It wasn't random. It felt strategic. Fans weren't just seeing Sophie the player anymore. They were seeing a completely different version of her. Someone expanding beyond the court, building a brand, and stepping into the mainstream spotlight.
The odds of her re-signing with the Indiana Fever are very high.
Sophie Cunningham. She went and got herself some hobbies. I was wondering, as I saw this, I thought to myself, is she retiring? But it looks like upon some clarification, probably not.
In a way most WNBA players haven't. And that's where things started to heat up. Because while some fans were hyping her up, calling it a smart move, a power play, others were questioning everything. Why her? Why now? And how did she suddenly land in such a visible position? That split reaction is exactly why this went viral. This wasn't just about appearances or a new role. It became a full-blown debate about attention, opportunity, and who the league is really pushing forward. And once that conversation started, there was no slowing it down.
You can be beautiful, but you can also be strong.
We show what it is to sacrifice, what it is to work hard, to achieve your dream.
I truly do think, like, go kick ass out on the court, and then go kick ass out in the real world being a woman who is strong, who is powerful, and who has the mindset that she can do anything.
And this is where things really started to explode. Because the moment Sophie Cunningham went viral, the backlash came just as fast. On one side, you had fans saying she earned it, pointing out her experience, her personality, and the fact that she's been around the game long enough to understand it at a high level. But on the other side, a completely different narrative started forming. People began questioning her credibility. They were asking, is she really the right choice for this spotlight? Others went even further, claiming she's being pushed ahead of more talented players. And that's where the tension started rising across the fan base. Social media turned into a war zone. Some posts praised her confidence and presence. Others attacked her role, her image, even her place in the league. And once those conversations turned personal, the entire situation got even louder. But here's what made it bigger than just one player. This started to feel like a larger WNBA debate about visibility, favoritism, and who gets promoted as the face of certain moments. And when those conversations start, they don't stay quiet, because now it's not just about Sophie anymore. It's about what her rise represents and why it's making so many people uncomfortable.
This role with USA Sports is going to be a little bit more limited.
Fairly viral. We've got Sophie Cunningham in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, where, to be honest, like, it is one of those things where, well, yeah, duh. Like, obviously, this is not something that Sophie Cunningham has been in the league for what, 8 years?
But here's where the story takes a completely different turn. Because what Sophie Cunningham is doing right now, it's not accidental, it's calculated. While everyone is arguing online about her role, her spotlight, and whether she deserves it, Sophie is quietly building something way bigger than just basketball. We're talking about multiple income streams. She's not relying on a WNBA paycheck the way most players have to. Between media appearances, broadcasting opportunities, brand deals, and now major features like Sports Illustrated, she's positioning herself in a lane where her value isn't tied to points per game anymore. And that changes everything. Because in the WNBA, let's be real, there isn't a lot of money for role players. If you're not a top-tier superstar, the contracts alone aren't life-changing. But Sophie, she's flipped that entire model. She understands something a lot of players are just starting to realize. Visibility equals money. Personality builds brand, and brand creates freedom. That's why this viral moment matters so much. It's not just attention, it's leverage. Now suddenly, taking a smaller contract doesn't hurt her. Staying in the right market matters more than chasing the biggest offer. Being in the spotlight alongside bigger names actually boosts her earning power off the court. And this is where the Indiana Fever connection starts getting really interesting. Because if you think about it, what's the hottest spotlight in the WNBA right now? It's Indiana. It's the Caitlin Clark effect. It's the constant media attention, sold-out arenas, and nonstop coverage. So if Sophie is thinking long-term, not just as a player, but as a brand, then staying connected to that environment isn't just smart. It might be the smartest move she can make. And when you combine that with everything we've already seen this past week, the media push, the viral attention, the off-court growth, it starts to feel like this isn't just a moment. It's a setup for something bigger. Because while fans are debating whether she should be in this position, Sophie Cunningham is making sure she stays in it. And that's exactly why the idea of a Fever return is starting to look less like speculation and more like a move that was planned all along.
You can be beautiful, but you can also be strong.
We show what it is to sacrifice, what it is to work hard to achieve your dream.
I truly do think, like, go kick ass out on the court and then go kick ass out in the real world being a woman who is strong, who is powerful, and who has the mindset that she can do anything.
And now, this is where everything connects. Because when you step back and look at the full picture, the viral moment, the media exposure, the brand growth, it all points in one very specific direction: Indiana Fever. This isn't just a random possibility anymore. It's starting to look like the most logical outcome. First, let's talk about fit. The Fever right now aren't just a team, they're the center of the WNBA spotlight. Every game is being watched, every move is being analyzed, and every player on that roster is getting more attention than ever before. And at the heart of that, Caitlin Clark. That spotlight changes everything for a player like Sophie Cunningham. Because if she returns to Indiana, she's not just another piece on a roster. She becomes part of the most talked about team in the league. More cameras, more coverage, more opportunities. That's exactly the environment she's been positioning herself for. Now add in the financial side. At first glance, it might not make sense. Why would Sophie potentially take less money to stay or return? But when you factor in everything we just talked about, endorsements, media roles, brand deals, it actually becomes crystal clear. She doesn't need the biggest contract. She needs the right platform. And Indiana gives her that platform better than almost any team in the league. Then there's the chemistry factor. She already knows the system, she already understands the locker room, and most importantly, she already has a connection to a team that is rapidly becoming the face of the league. That kind of continuity matters, especially when you're trying to balance on-court performance with off-court growth. But here's the part that really seals it. All the moves she's making right now, going viral, stepping into media, expanding her presence, they all align perfectly with someone who is planning to stay in a high-visibility market. Not disappear into the background, not go to a low-profile team, but stay exactly where the attention is strongest. And that's Indiana. So when fans start saying, this feels like a setup, they're not reaching, they're connecting dots. Because everything, from the timing of her viral moment to the opportunities she's stepping into, lines up with one outcome that's becoming harder and harder to ignore. Sophie Cunningham back with the fever, not just as a player, but as a brand, a personality, and a key part of the biggest spotlight in the WNBA. And if that actually happens, this viral moment we're seeing right now, it won't just be a headline, it'll be the beginning of a much bigger move.
Fairly viral.
Sophie Cunningham in Sports Illustrated swimsuit.
This is probably one of the most empowering things that I have done ever.
Nice job, Sophie.
Sophie Cunningham obviously is probably one of the bigger names in free agency. The odds of her re-signing with the Indiana Fever are very high.
Sophie Cunningham. She went and got herself some hobbies. I was wondering, as I saw this, I thought to myself, is she retiring? But it looks like upon some clarification, probably not. This role with USA Sports is going to be a little bit more limited.
Fairly viral. We've got Sophie Cunningham in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, where, to be honest, like, it is one of those things where, well, yeah, duh. Like, obviously, this is not something that Sophie Cunningham has been in the league for, what, 8 years?
So when you put it all together, this wasn't just Sophie Cunningham going viral for a moment. This looks like a move, a smart, calculated shift that could put her right back in the center of the biggest spotlight in the WNBA with the Indiana Fever. Now, the real question is this the smartest move in the league right now, or is it going to backfire? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you're rocking with Caitlin Clark, don't forget to comment CC22 so I know who's really here. And make sure you hit subscribe, because if this Fever return becomes official, you already know we're covering it first. This story is just getting started.